Hello and welcome. I'm going to take a minute here to get Instagram going, and hopefully my throat won't give out on me here. Of course, always happens right before you're going to have a big long chat. Yeah. Excuse me. Came up just as I was getting on here. I was perfectly fine before. So welcome to Coming Into Being. And Elisa's here. Good morning. Here and present. Great. Good to see you. So we're going to have a little bit, we can't go into an hour because I have another event afterwards. Tony, hello. Bella the dog, oh cute. we like having the animals on. They just add another flavor, and Karen's joining in. So welcome everybody. So yeah, I've got another event right at 8, so I'm gonna probably not have time for questions, but let's get into just a deep presence for ourselves here. So, and Sydney, I have a bouncy Chihuahua. So the dogs are with us today. And nature. I'm taking the time this month, and I might continue it because it's fun. I made myself a big circular calendar for the days to just notice something every day. I notice about nature because I live in kind of the center of town, and so that's not as present as I would like it to be for myself, and that's been fun. I actually saw a bat flying around at night. I mean, the weather was warmer, but it was kind of crazy. So it's interesting what shows up when you start paying attention, right? So have a glass of water, a cup of tea, whatever you need, and just take a moment to just relax. And even if it's the beginning of your day, I mean, it's interesting because my transition time is in the morning from night and being more deeply connected into the day. So when I wake up in the morning, that's when I take time to just sit still, sit in the stillness. So we'll do a bit of that today because that's such a great place to be, to just let yourself. And asked on Caroline on the other side. I had a feeling somebody was popping up. I got to move the window. There we go. Now I can see who's popping up. So good to have everybody. Yeah, just to come into that stillness and just not let anything coming into your mind and letting anything kind of move you. Movement has a way of activating thoughts. I think I saw something around that really like this past week. So coming in that stillness of being and coming into that stillness with our minds. And I do that in the morning just for that transition to shift from that deeper state into that morning. So, and it might be different for you. It might be evening time might be a better time. And that's also a nice time to do it when you get ready for bed. And just before you go to sleep, where you just kind of hold that stillness, hold yourself in that stillness so that you can transition out of the more human level and kind of get ready to just connect more deeply. So let's take a nice deep breath in and then exhale all the way out. Exhale, 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 all the air out of your lungs. And then hold it there for a couple counts. Just hold. See if you can hold it for longer. And then allowing the breath to just come in on its own. Feeling that relaxation just coming in. With the breath. Just that little shifting with the breath Yeah, Karen, you're stuck on the breath. I can feel that. That's really showing up today. That's okay, just to be aware of that. So just to kind of come in more deeply, connect more deeply to yourself, and just notice that. Yeah. And letting yourself just come into that presence with that breath. Slows down a little bit when we kind of shift and start paying attention to what we are doing. Yeah, and letting, it's like the space expands out as it's doing now. Just a nice deep calmness. You know, when we get out of our minds, when we get out of our thoughts and our run around, when we get out of the movement, and you could still be moving, but there's a movement that can happen internally, whether you're, even if you're just sitting there, right? And when we kind of tune in more deeply, like move past that and bring our awareness in past that, having that quiet come in, and there's a just a nice space. It's kind of very simple. It's just there's this calmness, there's this quiet, there's a softness there. Kind of reminds me of that softness, like when it's snowing outside and it's at night and there's snow on the ground and it's snowing and there's that quiet stillness there. That's what it reminds me of. So allowing yourself to feel into that, to come into that quiet and calm. Even if there's runaround internal, because I can kind of feel it's coming up for some people. You might feel choking, a little bit of, like, maybe not choking, but like something's grabbing at your throat, or it feels that way. So there's tightness. Or in your head. And just feeling that, but at the same time, because this stuff is going to come up. This is like distortions, this is patterns that are coming up, that are trying to sneak their way back in, you know, just kind of first, like, okay, that's going on. Yeah, I can feel that, but that's not me. And there's a deeper quiet. And just tell yourself, I can feel I can sense it. Even if you don't feel it very strongly, I can sense that deeper quiet that's coming through. Like it is now. And come and bring your awareness into that chest, heart space area, to the lungs. And just gently feeling that expansion. You know, you don't have to like stick to that, holding on your awareness to the breath going in and out. Just rest into that, relax into that as best as you can. And no matter what time of day it is, because I just feel most of you are kind of in the daylight. Some of us are in the evening, so it's kind of coming into the dark. And when it's dark, we kind of naturally have a tendency, unless we've got a lot of noisy environment like TV and devices going and music playing and stuff, but there's just that tendency to pull in, especially in winter, when that comes in earlier if you're on the north side of things. North hemisphere side of things. So that deeper breath coming in. then you can ask that question. I brought it up before. I got it from a wonderful, wonderful person. It's like, how do I connect with my pure source even more strongly now? And that's a recalibration question. That's not a question you're going to get and you're not looking for an answer to this. It's just a little invocation, a little activation statement that you say that just instantly pulls your system to a better alignment for yourself. Wherever you're going, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you can ask yourself that question. Okay, let's drop down to the core of the earth. And new earth. It's interesting. I don't feel the need to say new earth. There was a period not too recently where it just felt like we really had to say the new earth to make that distinction for ourselves and not get caught up in that other layer. And that's a bit better. But if you feel the need to say that, the new earth, I'm connecting into the new earth, because it's about connecting into this higher consciousness, this higher state of being for yourself, then do say that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with either way. Whatever that you need in that moment to activate that for yourself and to just go into the right place. That deeper consciousness, yeah. That's coming through really nicely. And there's, this coming up in an interesting way today, the earth, the consciousness of the earth. There's a real, I'm seeing this, we're here at the top and I'm seeing this kind of V-shape grid pattern that's from the core and just angling up to us, and almost like a spotlight, that's that impact, that spotlight going right to that spot to where we are, where we're gathered. And so we're not all in the same place physically, but we are all together in this deeper space, right? So that's coming up to that space, and there's just lighting that area for us. Beautiful bluish white light. This is really cool. I'm going to continue describing this because this is really cool. So just let's take a nice deep breath into that. Hold your breath, kind of 3, 4, 5, and then slowly let it out. Relaxing in, relaxing into yourself even more. And it is acting like a spotlight. There's this light that's coming from the core, this white blue light. And I see that color for a very high level, beaming up. Then we're at this level, and then it's beaming up through, sending that signal out into existence, but it's also to pure source and shining that forward into existence. So this is about all of us here, gathered here today, and whoever joins in later also, because you're joining in. When you join in, you might be joining at a different physical time, but at the non-physical level, you're joining it at the right time, at the same time. So there's that kind of overlap. We're coming together. So what's happening today in particular is that it's almost like this statement is being made by coming together and saying, no, we're gonna do this because this is important. This is where we need to be. And we, not meaning just our group, whoever shows up here, but we at the level of humanity, the level of humanity of in existence, humans, in existence, say, no, this is important. We need to connect in. It's important to connect in. It's important to stand true to that, coming into that deeper state of being for ourselves. And we're doing it. We're doing it now. So it's sending out that signal. It's like, this is it. This is important. This is what we need to do. This is the pure and true place to be. Okay? So hats off to all of you for showing up here. Pat yourself on the back for that one, because you're doing what most people are not doing. Majority of the people are not doing that. And there's a growing number of people that are doing this, but we're not in the billion yet. We've got 8 billion people on the planet, so a lot of people are not in that place. However, that signal is going out into the ethers, going out at that non-physical level, spreading out that vibration. And even if you are struggling with yourself, because I know some of you are, we're all struggling, not just some of you. We're all have our little niche of struggle, right? our little niche area where we struggle, and that's okay. This is what's going on in the trusted house sitter community. A big no to the negative high frequency being, creating new ways of community loving. I saw that because I'm on their list too. I have done some work with that group a while back. So yeah, everybody. So it's coming through. It's coming through in different ways, little by little. And either you cater to the other side, or you maintain your frequency high. And it's like, it doesn't matter. We're going to stay in this place. So nice deep breath in. Coming into that deeper, so back into awareness, back into the chest, into the heart space. Feel that determination. Even if you've got all this other stuff running around in you and you're not breathing very deeply, or you're not sitting very still or whatever, there is an uprising of people. Small, it might not seem very big, but there is this uprising. The meek shall inherit the earth. And being in the sense that we're just going to take it over. And we will be there. We will be in that place. How long it takes everybody else to get there is, there's different angles on that out there. But there's also this thing of it's like living at two different levels. There's a higher frequency level you can choose to live at, or there's the lower frequency level you can choose to live at. And people, it's already been happening for a really long time. Just it's getting real obvious now. And I'm sure all of you have this feeling where, I'll get to you in a minute, Tanya. So do your best to just kind of say no to that and say, nope. I'm holding my space, And this lower, so you've, I'm sure you've experienced that way back, not even recently, but where you're walking around and there's people just being da 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 da, and they're just in this negative space, and you're like, okay, you kind of notice them, but you kind of walk right by, and they might not even notice you. Totally different ball game. So it's getting more and more obvious, and you know, your choice, your choice. So there feels like a hand pressing in my neck, making it hard to breathe. So this is part of that abuse, that control thing. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes back to your stuff in your past that we won't bring. We don't need to bring up more here, but of a way of you being controlled so that you could get abused. And whatever it takes to say that. So if you felt that before, okay, notice that that's a loop. Something kind of looping back around. It's like, nope, not going there anymore. So let's take a nice deep breath in. And so slow down, you know, if you need to like breathe more carefully and not necessarily more deeply, but more carefully and become really present in your body. There's my earlobes. So everybody just taking a nice deep breath in. And notice your chin. Exhale, and then on your next breath, notice the tips of your shoulders. And it's I have a matching image, Tanya, coming up because it's leaving. So yeah, so that's another point to understand, is that it could be it's leaving. It's in the process of leaving, and you're now becoming aware of it. But you've been holding that in at your cellular level, and it's like, no, this is, now you're becoming aware of it. So it's in the process of shifting out. Yeah. Notice the tips of your fingers. Your kneecaps, bringing your awareness to your kneecaps. There's a lot, there's kind of this mental game that gets played. You know, your mind will create a lot of things. It's amazing. And get to that place and you're really just holding that presence for yourself. And Tanya, I can see that internally what's happening is that you are battling this out. You're trying to battle it out, and it's almost like you're trying to reason with it. Not really. It's more like kind of this arguing and doing your best to make it leave, but it's also not leaving. So it's the question of, you know, the thing to ask is like, okay, what am I still holding on to here? You know, what do I need to shift in myself? That's allowing that opening. And there are some things that are just, we're just more blind to, you know. I've got this thing with my mom that I'm just, something can sneak into me and I don't notice it till, you know, a little bit of time. There's a time lag, and then by the time I notice it, it's like, oh God, what am I doing again? You know? So you just keep asking when it comes up, when you notice stuff, guys, just keep saying, it's like, okay, what do I need to shift here? What is it inside of me? What's opening up that door in me? And your mind, your mind is really good at just like, there's this fear that comes up inside about something, for example, as an example. All of a sudden there's a situation that presents itself, and then you kind of go into, you know, and your mind is all of a sudden going to bring up, create, it's like all of this goo, all this mess, and I'll feel it. It's happened to me, and I can feel it energetically going. It's like this big flood of nasty sewage water just started to come up, right? And I was like, no. And it's the mind, just because the mind is like, it's like, uh-oh, we've got this situation coming up because that's come up before. And it starts to create everything that connects up to that situation. So it depends on how you feel it. I feel it very energetically. And to the point where sometimes when I'm shifting stuff, it's like shifting cement. I feel like I'm pushing cement out of my pores, kind of thing. So take a nice deep breath in. And there's a lot of different ways of approaching that. But at the core, it's always like, okay, what's in me? What's going on? Where's that little thing that's just unlocking that door, opening up that door and making that come in? And then along with that, what I'm starting to notice is that fighting is probably what you don't want to do. You want to get into that place of just like focusing on yourself. But if you've been abused, and I think everybody on this call can probably at some point say, yeah, in some shape or form. And remember that abuse is anything that takes you away from yourself, out of your alignment with your essence is abuse. That's a lot of stuff. So everybody on the call has been abused. It's a question of exactly what happened, to what degree, kind of thing, but or how severe it felt. But anytime you're getting pulled away, pushed away from that alignment, it's not good. I forgot where I was going with that. So let's take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, relaxing back into yourself. So if you've been abused, somebody's railed into you, it's like you don't want the attention on yourself. And so even you putting attention on yourself, bringing your awareness onto yourself, can feel really uncomfortable because of that experience. But that might be the thing that you also need to do right now is say, any of you say, it's like, no, I'm worth it. I love myself. And I'm going to focus on myself and aligning with my purest essence right here, right now. And you might have to, hold it and have this other thing trying to take you over. And just like, okay, fear of success and being seen could be. And it could be being caught between the fear of success and fear of failure, not knowing which way to go, feeling like you need to pick one or the other. So don't pick either. Pick that alignment with your higher self. That's always the option you go for. Same with the being seen, fear of not being seen, as well as the fear of being seen. So coming into just that alignment with yourself, dropping down to the core of the earth, connecting back into the earth, the new earth, that new consciousness that is settling in here, anchoring into. and breathing some breaths into from the core of the earth. And bringing your awareness to yourself, feeling yourself. Yeah, some of you have a little bit of static in that core connection. So just focus on your breath. Just keep that awareness on your breath, and just that bringing that awareness to yourself. Say, no, I love myself first. I'm important to me first. So that's a little bit of your struggle, Tanya, at least Tanya. It's shown up Tanya right now, but probably resonates for some others. That connection to it's like there's doubt in your connection to source. And so if you doubt that, that's, that can cause that static. And so because that static is like, okay, I'm connected. Well, am I connected? Well, I'm connected. Well, am I connected? Well, it's connected. Well, am I connected? So it's just like, so it's causing interference, basically. So it's not that your connection is not there. It's just that between your awareness and your state of being and that, there's interference that's coming up. You can also call that filters, right? There's filter through which you're experiencing that is not really clean. Yeah. So smoothing that out a bit here, yeah. So there's fear. There's different fears that are coming up for people. There's also some mental stuff going on. There's like anger is showing up, but it's very kind of internalized and more kind of the mental level. So kind of twisted around. I think I have that interference as well. Yeah. You've got a self-worth issue. And I'm going to take a guess that you've got Armenian background because of the name Kashgarian. I lived in Armenia. That's why I'm saying that. And if you do, then you also have this very long cultural history of lack of self-worth. That's could be for another discussion. So that, and that's for all of us in all cultures. There's that piece of lack of self-worth. There's just some cultures that are really seeped in it. the Armenians, the Jews, for example, are really, boom. My mother was minus on the 50 self-esteem scale. Yeah, if you can scale that. You know, a better way to look at it is like, it's there or it's not there. Just to simplify things, because what does that mean, that minus 50 on the self-esteem scale? You get to 0 and you're not really there. You know, 0, full self-esteem could be 100. Well, if you get up from 50 to 0, so we can get really caught up in these scales that are very convoluted. They can help, they can be helpful though, but just to take that lightly. All right, let's take another nice deep breath in. So this is all coming up because we're just sitting in this space. We've opened up to this deeper space. We're going in more deeply. We're taking that time to connect with ourselves, to say, you know, I'm important. I come first. I love myself. And whatever doesn't match that will come to the surface. So nice deep breath in. So good for everybody here for coming up to that and bringing that through. Yeah, so that's all shifting out, because a lot of the stuff, as I've been saying it, you know, it's been shifting through, helping it to move out from people. That mental stuff is much clearer now. That fear stuff is much lighter now also for everybody. Yeah, Armenia, I live there, so I, long history, goes back. Same with the Jews, and there's other groups out there, but those are like the two big groups that, especially out in the, are known in the European side of life here. Deep breath in. Yeah, very nice. It's a nice, gentle clearing that's happening for everybody, coming into that deeper alignment. Very simple, really. You know, I'm pushing it along. I'm just helping it move through faster. But just that piece of showing up for yourself, taking that time to show up for yourself. I would call it self-loathing instead of self-hatred. Yeah, but it's self-depreciation. You know, I don't know what it's like now, but when I was there in the early 90s, it was like maps of Armenia, and back when Armenia, it was the Armenian Empire in 300 AD or whatever. This is Armenia. It's like, what the hell? You know, and for some of us, different cultures, it doesn't make any sense. You know, it's like, what are you talking about? That's not Armenia. You know, that was so long ago. Why are you still holding on to that? You know, in Armenian genocide, I mean, there's nasty things that have happened that are still ingrained in people, that and even when we try to not be in that space, to not take it on, to not accept it, it's still ingrained at that deeper level, you know, DNA level. So we also have to work through those pieces for ourselves. And some of the session work that I do can go into that more deeply and clear that up faster. So you can, sure, clear it for yourselves. You can get your friends, but you guys are probably all more or less at the same level. So it'll be supportive, but not going to really clear you as fast as it can. As my childhood was loveless, terrorizing, traumatizing. I was petrified by, parentified by 6. Well, you know, I came to break the intergenerational curse. You know, probably so many people can say, and I say a majority of people who are doing this work, who are working on themselves, were probably parents to their parents. And everybody has a hero's journey. So, yeah. At 53, I now fully love and accept myself. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna question you on that one. Fully love and accept myself. Then, if you fully love and you accept yourself, that storyline is out the window, and you don't need to bring it up anymore. So that you need to bring it up. You're not 100% there. You're working on it. So that's the important piece. You're moving through it. And also to understand, guys, again, it's like at this level, you're there 100%. Then you move on to the next level. Well, it's a whole other ball game because the vibrational level is higher. So it's going to come back up to clear out even more deeply. So it's things that we work through more and more deeply at deeper and deeper layers. But good, you know, you're working through stuff. You're getting there, and you're saying the hell with this, you know. And then the question is, what in your spirit? What was in your spirit's programming that made you come into that situation? Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, it's well, it's see with that, yeah. And so we've all have that common, I would say we all have that common thread. And that's why we've all stepped forward and saying, you know, we're going to change things here. It's time to shift this existence because this is ridiculous. You could just look around. It's got real obvious to at least to us, right? It's like, and this is really messed up. And no, we're going to do it differently. Yeah. And loving me up. Yeah. So you were able to step up and saying, well, okay, let's use this to break away from that. You know, let's look at this and say no. And karma is just karma's a loop. You just keep going back to the same thing over and over again. It's like, okay, well, let's stop this looping. This isn't helping. So good for all of you. Again, good for all of you for saying, stepping forward and sending that message out to the rest of existence saying, no, come here, connect in, and just be me. Yeah. All right, take a nice deep breath in, and even saying, more pain, more power. Let's be done with that cycle as well. You don't need more pain to have more power. So watch that logic, because you want to be in one direction, but then you're not quite there, and it shows up in your logic and in your language. So notice that, guys. All right, nice deep breath in. I'm going to wrap this up because I'm going to have to get to another event right at 8. But really good job. connecting back down to the core of the earth. Focusing on yourself. So let's put the chat away for a minute. So we had some very good comments, but just put that aside for a minute. We all have gotten so used to be on our devices and, like, you know, instantly sharing our thoughts and stuff. But just for this moment, just for right now, taking a deep breath in, letting yourself connect into the core of the earth, out of the head, out of the emotion. And being in that place of stillness. Stillness of mind, stillness of being. And maybe there's still a little buzz still floating around you. Coming in more deeply, just kind of bringing your awareness, noticing more deeply, and noticing your ribs, noticing the tip of your nose, noticing your tailbone, noticing your toenails, eyebrows. There we go. Just letting that all, just you, letting all the rest just kind of fade away just for this moment. Feeling your skin, feeling like the clothes against your skin or hair or jewelry. Feeling what you're sitting or standing or leaning against. Feeling your feet on the floor, on the ground. There we go. Going back to that calm and that quiet. You know, and ultimately, you go through these different layers. Yeah, there's you, there's family, there's culture, there's country, there's all these different layers that we go through. And then eventually it's the human level. But it goes beyond that. It's also the spirit level. Your spirit chose in these particular items. It's like, well, if your spirit had been in a place of wholeness to begin with, would it have chosen abuse? Would it have chosen to get just the crap beaten out of you or whatever happened to you? That's not a fully conscious, awake state of being, even at spirit level. So moving through all of that, moving into that deeper integration, coherence, vibrational state. And yeah, you may not feel yourself there. You may have other stuff that needs to shift through, shift out, but you're tacked on to that. Your course is set. You all have that little kind of guiding light from your heart, like a string of essence that's, you're tacked onto that highest expression of your essence. Yeah. And all the rest is, it's really nothing. Not easy to get through nothing sometimes, but really, it's, yeah, good job, everybody. So good pat on the back for everybody for showing up, for being here today. And whatever else you do in this for yourself, for standing up for that purity, for that truth to come forward. Good for all of you. So we're just gonna end here. Just take a moment to just kind of just be present at the end here. I have no, oh, there we go. It's kind of acting a little bit different. I'm just going to flash on my QR code if you wish to make a donation, if that feels great. Yeah. And thank you again all for those who send in a donation. It's appreciated. And you don't have to, but if you feel inclined to, it's like, yeah, it's appreciated. That's fine. That's good. And thank you so much. It's so helpful. Yeah, good. And you know, I saw a message from Tanya here. Thank you so much. It's so helpful. So it's. I want to take that even further because yeah, it feels really helpful in the moment. And again, I want to come back to just that kind of like vision that came through at the beginning. And you know, we're here and we're sending that message out. And every time we do this, it's helpful. It might not feel like a lot with all that crazy stuff and you see more crazy stuff out there, you know, it's like, there's a lot of good stuff out there, but man, it's like an onslaught. Sometimes it feels out there. So all of you, you're doing good. You really just keep at it and just say, no, this is more important. This is the truth. This is where we're all heading. This is where existence is heading, whether people care to join or not. You know, that's up to them. It's their journey. But we're choosing the pure truth. We're choosing purity. We're choosing to step up and saying, yeah, let's do this a better game for everybody, right? Let's just make this better all around. So again, big thank you to all of you for being here today. Every Wednesday at the same place, same time here. Start at 7 p.m. Eastern. No, I'm sorry, Central European Time. Eastern Standard Time is kind of logged in the brain there. And we'll see you then, or wherever else we connect up in the ethers. So take care, everybody, and thanks for joining in. Thank you for Asta, yes. And I know everybody, if you haven't typed it in, I know it's there in your heart. So you're welcome, and have a great rest of your week, and see you next time around.